Aside from the NTC memorandum, please remember that last week, the NTC also removed the facilities for the media group that the National Security Council labeled as communist-related. And then this morning, I got this breaking news that the Securities and Exchange Commission has upheld their order to shut down the Rappler Group. Okay, that is directly from Maria Ressa, who made the announcement in the United States. Okay, I will defer to seniority and authority first. KBP President Herman Basbaño. Sir, ayoko pong mag-opinionate dito, although I've already expressed my opinion in the Philippine Star. What is your position on the matter?
Well, we still have to discuss with the board, but we most likely would seek clarification on the order of the NTC, CITO. No po? Kasi there seems to be not right no, in the process. Diba? Parang may order and then there's a scheduled hearing come July 11, CITO. No? So nauna yata yung order bago yung hearing, meaning hindi pa napakinggan yung mga stakeholders. Nasa dyan marinig kung anong mga panig ng bawat stakeholder dito CITO. No? So we'll seek clarification on this.
Okay, now let's talk about setup, about positions, authorities, etc. The National Telecommunications has authority over the facility, the airwave, the technology, etc. Correct?
Yeah.
And you, the KBP, is the presidentially by presidential decree is the self-censoring body that essentially you're the bastonero, you manage the affairs of broadcasters, correct?
Yes, we have the system of self-regulation, CITO.
Correct, okay. Pasensya ka na. Medyo hindi ako ganun kakomplikado mag-isip eh. Yung self-regulation, that was given to the KBP by presidential decree under Ferdinand Marcos Sr. to oversee and regulate the broadcast industry. Now, under whom does this thing about BLOCKTIME falls? Is that in the purview or in the authority of the NTC or the KBP?
Well, it should be under the KBP and the networks. No, this concerns content, CITO, and I have heard from our General Counsel, si Atty. Reggie Larbal, that there is a Supreme Court ruling no, that NTC has no jurisdiction over content. So dapat walang ganitong klaseng order, CITO.
Meron bang naging abuse? May mga kaso ba? May mga complaints ba before the KBP that have been substantial in volume or impact that can be justified by the NTC as cause for them clamping down?
Well, kung meron man CITO it should be resolved.
No, I'm not asking for I'm not speculating, Chairman, Mr. President. Tinatanong ko, may mga nagko-complain ba? May mga patong-patong ba yung kaso dyan sa KBP na, block timer kami, winalang niya kami, or etc.?
Well, kung patong-patong, wala akong makita, no? Though from time to time, alam naman ng self-regulatory body namin, we have cases that we encourage people to file against our members, no? Meron on the way they handle the program, meron kasama siguro yung BLOCKTIME dyan, pero hindi gano'n na talaga maging malaking basis para dyan. But if ever na meron CITO, no, going back to what I have said earlier, there is a system within our ambit na ma-address yan. We have the Standards Authority, reklamo ka dyan, then of course, i-hearing yan, may penalties, may sanctions. Or kung hindi ka para talaga satisfied, then you go to the courts of law. We have enough laws, actually, CITO, to cover this. No?
What is your take on this development? Is this just part of a wave? Or is this particular memorandum of the NTC of grave concern to you as a professor?
This is very, very concerning because, as Mr. Basbaño correctly noted, this has to do with content. If you would read Executive Order number 546, which established the NTC, which was then called the Ministry for Communication, MTC at that particular time, there's no clear provision regarding content. Now, I've read the 2 draft memoranda. What they're saying is that they have the right to seek certain requirements prior to the issuance of the certificate of public convenience or the issuance of the recommendation for franchise, subject to legislative approval. However, nowhere in the executive order does it talk about regulation of media content, and rightly so, because under our constitution, no law shall be passed abridging our basic freedoms, including press freedom. So, Sito, as early as now, we should remember that this already constitutes, the abridgment or the abridging rather of our freedom of the press, because we don't want anything to get in the way of airing certain media content, and then the government will have certain mechanisms to regulate it. So to answer your question, the quick answer there is grave concern with these 2 draft memoranda, and that this should be opposed.
This NTC memorandum essentially telling broadcast stations you cannot sell more than 50% of your airtime. You need to get our approval before you enter into those arrangements, etc., etc. And if there are any legal issues, both you and the BLOCKTIMER are jointly and solidarily responsible. Okay. Your thoughts, attorney?
Morning, Sito, at magandang umaga sa nakikinig na nanonood sa atin. It is a very clear exercise of NTC of a power that it doesn't have. It is an attack on your freedom of the press, freedom of expression, yung right of people to know. So it's very unfortunate na nangyayari ito, and we hope that kayo sa media will then later should withdraw this. Yung mga usap-usap ngayon na may consultation daw. Paano ka magkaroon ng consultation? Linabas mo na yung memorandum, no? Yung usap-usapan na draft, yung makikita mo naman pirmado. Siguro nakita na nila na nagkamali sila. Mas maganda siguro sabihin, nagkamali kami dito, i-withdraw muna natin, and then saka yung pag-uusapan. Kayo ang dapat umaksyon dito. You would be the party, yung KBP, the media outfits would be the proper party to bring this before the courts. But mukha ngayon, ang approach ninyo is dialogue muna, representation, which is also welcome. Baka nga, mas mabilis yan kaysa kaagad pumunta sa korte. Mukhang umaatras naman ng NTC when you do a pushback. But our point is, responsible government officials or entities should just act within their power and don't wait for a pushback.
Okay, no, what about the content of the memorandum? Because in the memorandum, they are essentially, according to other lawyers, interfering with the conduct of business. Mukhang may mga batas yata or restrictions na, government can regulate, but it cannot meddle in what is essentially conduct of business. Paki-explain nga yun, attorney.
Well, tama naman yung puna ng mga abogado. No? NTC has the power to regulate, but it cannot interfere into the private affairs of corporations. Yung mga entities, individuals, corporations have the right to enter into any contract with anyone as long as it does not violate the law. So yung pakikialaman mo kung ilang porsyento dyan ang BLOCKTIME at hindi, malinaw wala na yan sa kanilang poder. Wala na sa kanilang regulatory function. You cannot see that in the law creating NTC, in their internal rules, or any other subsequent law, including the policy on telecommunications at pati yung pandemic rules na linabas nila. Wala yan doon. So they cannot interfere into the freedom of parties to contact. Hindi sila board of directors ng mga media outlets. Purely private yan in nature. Makakapasok lang sila, makikialam, kung may nalalabag na batas. O kaya yung pag-allocate ng mga frequencies at iba pa. Pero yung pakikialam sa management, internal na po yan. That's perfectly within the private privileges of the parties. The other one is mas nakakatakot yung sinabi nila na you cannot enter into these contracts unless you submit them to us for review and for our approval. So,
Yes.
yun talagang malinaw na wala na silang poder sa ganyan. Sana naman napag-isipan nila ito. May mga abogado naman sila bago nila dinabas. Siguro tinetesting lang kayo sito.